Good morning, everyone. My name is Łukasz Stelmach. I work for Samsung R&D Institute Poland in Warsaw. I'm here today to talk about Tizen. The lecture is titled Tizen Architecture, though I'd like to say a few things more about Tizen. Those who have followed Tizen development probably will know more than I will tell today. I hope, however, that the rest would find my presentation interesting and educating. If you have any questions, please ask them as they appear in your head. First, I would like to introduce Tizen to those who maybe haven't heard about it. Maybe it will be helpful. First of all, Tizen is something new, something different from what other operating systems are, from other Linux-based, maybe not all, there are some Linux-based operating system, but from the most popular Linux operating system, it has several differences. First of all, it's really Linux-based system. It has a GNU Linux basic userland. It's standard-based, I mean POSIX and HTML5. What's it for? Sebastian already have said in practice, it's for all smart embedded devices. It's a strange new category of devices. On one hand, embedded devices are something that we have in our devices like, I don't know, TV set, radio, refrigerator. They are put, the microprocessors are put there, and we don't care about maintenance of that devices. On the other hand, those devices become smarter and smarter. We can install new software there. We can do things that the manufacturer didn't, maybe, not that they didn't want us to do, but they didn't plan we would do them. So Tizen is for smart embedded devices, like phones, tablets, IVIs, TV sets, refrigerators, or whatever you can think of. First, a little bit history, because there are few misconceptions about Tizen. As you probably all know, Samsung Electronics has been making mobile phones for quite a while. Some of them were smarter than others. Some of them weren't smart at all. In 2007, Samsung, together with other manufacturers, established Limo Foundation. Its mission was to create an open Linux-based software platform for mobile devices. Back then, it was only for mobiles. Nobody has thought then about other smart devices yet, probably. Maybe somewhere in very quiet rooms, somebody was thinking about this, but this wasn't the main goal at the moment. The foundation released two versions of the platform, with significant contributions ported from Samsung SLP. This was Samsung Linux platform developed internally in Samsung, but large parts of it found their way to Limo, to both versions of Limo. In the meantime, Intel was working on its own Moblin distribution. It was later merged with Nokia's Memo to form MeeGo. Shortly after releasing version 1.2, Intel decided to discontinue development of MeGo and joined the Limo Foundation, which at the same time, together with Linux Foundation, announced a new project named Tizen. It was, if I remember correctly, it was somewhere in late 2011. A few months later, in the beginning of 2012, Limo Foundation changed its name to Tizen Association. In 2012, the first version of Tizen SDK was released officially, followed by version 2.0 and 2.2 in 2013, which both provide native API. Tizen 1.0 provided only HTML5 runtime. Tizen 2.0 and 2.2 provide also native C++ API based on Samsung's BADA platform. Things to remember, things I would like you to remember about Tizen history is that Tizen Association continues efforts of Limo Foundation. Samsung and Intel at the moment are the main contributors to Tizen. Tizen is not MeGo. This is very common misconception. Although Intel brought some useful bits from MeGo to Tizen, which are Conman, Ophono, BlueZ, RPM, and of course lots of people who worked on MeGo and now work on Tizen. They are very helpful. I must say I work with them and they help a lot. And what is also important, what Sebastian mentioned, I assure you, we are open. You can check on www.tizen.org. The platform is becoming open. The first two versions, 2 or 3 versions, including that 2.2, were developed as if inside, but version 3.0 is going to be fully developed on the open website, this one here at tizen.org. Inside Tizen, I will say here about some internals of Tizen. Not all, because I admit I don't know all the bits inside. What you can see here is our layers. We all like layers, I think, in a way. The picture is pretty simple, which is unbelievable, I think, while still being true. At the bottom of Tizen is Linux kernel. What is important is that unlike Android kernel, Tizen kernel is the mainline kernel. If it's not yet, I assure you we're attempting to build on top of the mainline kernel. So we are contributing to the mainline kernel to make it viable for Tizen. Then above the kernel there is something we call core services. This is a set of software, mainly GNU software, but also some Tizen services and daemons, which together provide services to the upper layers. These are two APIs, two sets of APIs. The web API available in web runtime that will be My colleague Janusz Meinert will talk about the web runtime, I think, on Saturday, and to the native C++ API. And on top of those APIs, developers can build their applications. In my team, we develop one of the core layer parts called base package. The core layer consists of the following domains, we say. These are application framework, base package, network and connectivity, graphics and UI, location services, messaging, multimedia, PIM, security, system, telephony, and web. I think it's in alphabetical order, so if something is more important than something else, I just didn't consider it. Although this part is probably completely invisible to the end user, and even the developers aren't supposed to be exposed to it too much, it is crucial that it works flawlessly. To make sure it does, the base package is a solid foundation. To make sure the base package is a solid foundation, everything else can build on. We put here as much free software as possible, because we believe that free software, at least at the moment, is best what we can provide. Commercial software, commercially developed, from my experience, isn't as well tested as good as free. Even if free software doesn't meet our needs, we simply improve it, but we don't try to replace it. What is in the base package? There is GNU Linux userland with systemd as init, GCC toolchain, and a bunch of libraries for database access. This is, I think, SQLite, international I18N, and some XML parsing stuff. Pretty much anything you can find on a decent desktop distribution. Then the application framework. This part consists of software that provides services like application state management, predefined services like dialer, phone dialer, notifications about system events like batteries or device orientation or stuff. Package management, software for package management, alarm time management. This is like basic stuff you would expect on a system like this. Then network and connectivity, network management is provided by Conman, Bluetooth by BlueZ, several HTTP libraries like libsup and curl. There is software for NFC, for Wi-Fi Direct, and again, this is what probably we expect. Maybe this is not all we would expect. More software to come. The Tizen development is very dynamic, so something new may as well appear even tomorrow. Tizen graphics and UI. Tizen graphics stack is based on X11. but we are experimenting with Wayland. You can find Wayland packages on Tizen.org. There are two, I think, two types of images built for devices. One is with X11 and one with Wayland. The latter is quite experimental, I think, but it should be available. Then there is also, of course, OpenGL. We've got EFL, Enlightenment Foundation libraries, present on the devices. They are not available to developers as native API. They are covered by BADA runtime libraries. And the last part of the graphics and UI domain is software for different input methods, for different languages. As you know, Samsung is not a European or American company, so they care about making the software available for different, at least for their language, which makes it available for other languages, other alphabets input methods too. Then location services. This is quite simple, although comprehensive too. We use GeoClue. Currently, the following plugins are available: GPS, Wi-Fi, 3G network localization, GeoIP, and geocoding. Messaging. This is the smallest probably domain. It provides services for SMS and MMS, for email, and what is interesting is the push service. Samsung is going to provide application developers with the cloud part of the push service. You need to register your application, and then it will be able to communicate via Samsung's cloud for forwarding messages between I don't know, your infrastructure, like your servers, between mobile devices. There is an API for this, and there is going to be a service for this. I mean, cloud service. Multimedia Framework, of course. I can't imagine a device, a portable device or smart device today without multimedia support. I don't know, even watches probably provide MP3 players. Multimedia Framework is ready to support hardware codecs for video, and there are ongoing works to provide hardware support for audio decoding. There is software for different audio policies, scenarios. This is provided by Pulse Audio. PIM, I don't know, this part I really don't know much, so I know that it is, and that you can have your phone book, you can have your calendar, account management, and synchronization. This seems probably obvious, but honestly, this part is the part I know least, so forgive me, but I can't tell any details. From what I have seen, most of this software is Tizen software. It's not part of any free. It is available, but it hasn't been developed outside Tizen. Now security. This is interesting. Security software security services consist of access control, certificate management, secure storage management, cryptography libraries, and DRM. DRM is somewhat required by operators, by those who will sell devices and want to control what customers can do with them. It's there. What's interesting is that Tizen is probably the first Linux-based operating system that uses SMAC for access control. This is a kernel mandatory access control framework module. In fact, I can't say it's poor man's SE Linux, but it's a lot easier than SE Linux, providing generally the same functionality. I mean, you've got a piece of code, some resources, you've got a matrix of permissions, and not based on UIDs and standard Linux permissions, but based on rules. So each piece of code, each process can have its own permissions to access resources. So it's very then I can't say convenient, because recently we had some problems with developers complaining that SMAC prevents them from debugging their software. We are working on it, but for the final product, it will ensure the much greater security than an ordinary Linux system can provide. System domain. This provides power management, system settings, sensors, and stuff like this. Telephony, of course, at least for mobile devices, which most of them are smartphones. Telephony domain provides access to telephony services, network communication, GSM network, modem drivers, and so on. SIM management, to read, write your contacts on SIM card to authorize the device in the network. Web. This is what this is the other part we do in our R&D center. Web domain consists of several packages. The biggest of them is WebKit. You can find my colleagues' contribution at webkit.org. So we don't take this software and hide it and put it somewhere on the carpet. We contribute to the mainline project. On Saturday, as I told you before, Janusz Meinert will talk more about the web runtime, this framework for running HTML5 applications. It will be track 2, I think, if I remember the schedule correctly. All those services are available through proper application programming interfaces to both native and HTML5 applications. There are two sets of APIs, all of them divided as if to the groups you can see on your right. The former based on web runtime, the latter is a Linux port of Samsung's OSP BADA framework. The former is cross-platform. You can write HTML5 application on one, write it on one platform. It will probably run on others, provided that other platforms have the APIs you used. But if the APIs are there, there is nothing preventing the application from running. On the other hand, the native C++ API provides better performance, but it's not as portable as HTML5. You may ask here about other frameworks. As I told you, EFL is there on the platform, but it is not an official API. You may ask about Qt. You will get your answers from Jarosław Staniek, I think on Saturday too. Qt has been ported to Tizen, but it's not officially a part of the platform. Tizen and others. I'd like to compare now Tizen with other operating systems available on the market. I have chosen the popular ones. I don't know the exact numbers. I don't want to speak about numbers on the following slides because there are different numbers every time you look at numbers. They are changing, so probably you know the numbers better than I do. I'd like to show kind of qualitative comparison between the most common mobile operating systems and Tizen, which is not so common and popular yet. This is my own view, and I'm not an application developer. So if you are an application developer, my conclusions may not apply to you, but I hope we can discuss these differences during the Q&A part. The players. Android, iOS, Windows Phone, BlackBerry also, and Tizen. How I see it, Android is most popular as far as I could find the numbers of models, numbers of devices available on the market. None of the other operating systems can be compared. Maybe iOS, maybe, but not probably not too much. How does Android look? To me, Google is trying to make to take too much for them, leaving little for manufacturers and operators. This is, I think that this is like it. iOS is for application developers maybe a problem because popularity of iOS devices very much depend on trends and fashion. If trends change, if Apple loses its position, lots of applications become obsolete. Windows Phone, that's becoming more and more interesting, at least after Nokia has been purchased by Microsoft. I don't know what's going to happen next. This may be Microsoft may gain on this transaction or may lose. This is, I think it's high risk transaction. BlackBerry, I'm sorry I have omitted it. Well, it's not very popular, although I keep spotting BlackBerry devices from time to time. So somehow they manage to survive from year to year. Tizen, on the other hand, a new kid, the first mobile, maybe not the first because recently Firefox OS has been released, but it is one of the first mobile operating systems to support HTML5 applications. We will see what happens. This is something we don't know what's going to happen. Areas of applications. Android, pretty much any device you can imagine. I've seen television, TV sets, set-top boxes, watches, mobile phones, anything that you can port, and porting is, as far as I know, not so difficult. Lots of development boards, so if you're going to build some custom device, you can buy development board for ARM processor and build on top of it. Android has been ported to a lot of development boards, so there is wide range of them to choose from. iOS runs on iStuff, and not every iStuff. I mean, iPhones, iPads, newer iPods, but not I think not the smallest one. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, I think I'm not wrong. BlackBerry runs on BlackBerry phones and tablets. Windows phones mostly on Nokia devices. Last time I've checked, it was like 80% of devices running Windows phones were Nokia devices, and after Nokia acquisition, I think less and less manufacturers will decide to license Windows Phone for their devices. Tizen, again, like Android, is going to run on pretty much anything that can run Linux kernel. If Linux kernel runs on something, you will probably be able to port Tizen to this platform without much effort. Software development for different platforms. Android, we know, Java, iOS, Objective-C, and a developer license to run code on a device. BlackBerry looks most versatile. It provides native API for C and C++, HTML5, Adobe Air, and a framework to run Android applications. Windows Phone has its .NET framework and C++ libraries. Tizen, as I told, provides native API for C++ only, HTML5, and there is something called ACL that enables running or porting, because you need to convert. It's not like this enables porting Android applications. This isn't it's not possible simply by installing APK file on the device. You have to convert APK to TPK, Tizen's package format. But if you need to port Android application to Tizen, this is one of probably the most convenient ways. It's developed by a company named OpenMobile. You can find some information and lengthy presentation at Tizen.org. It has been presented on 2013 Tizen Developer Conference in San Francisco. Platform development. This is, I think, interesting. Android development model is more or less open. It's there are community-driven distributions like CyanogenMod. However, Android does not run the mainline Linux kernel. Google, I don't know, driven probably by NIH syndrome, wrote a lot of code just to make sure they don't have GPL licensed code in their userland. On the other hand, Tizen is becoming open. We moved to Tizen.org with our development, and we want to contribute to open source software. Tizen is going to run the mainline kernel. We push our changes upstream. We are not afraid of GPL in our userland. If some piece of code needs modifications to meet our needs, we modify it. We work with upstream developers to push the modifications back, to push the modifications upstream and take it back with the latest version of the software. Software distribution. Actually, every platform has its own application store. Some of them are more liberal, some of them less. On Android, you can put your application to the Play Store, but you don't have to. You can install. There are other ways to install software. Tizen Store is already open to developers, and you can experiment with it as an application developer, though it's not yet strictly defined if there is going to be one store or multiple stores, who is going to run those stores. This is probably going to change a little bit as Tizen develops. And that's probably all I've got to say. It looks like I have managed to fit in the time I was given. Any questions? Yes, the question was for those watching the streaming. What are the devices? Where are the devices to run Tizen? Samsung has released, I don't know, 2 or 3 devices. The official one at the moment is called M0. You've got one in that box there. If you're a skilled developer, you can win one on Sunday, as Sebastian said. Those devices are being delivered to developers gradually, and they are available. So you can I don't know if you can purchase one, but you can get one if you're lucky.
Which of
The definition of openness I used. I think I've explained it a little bit. We try to work with upstream developers. We try to work with community, which develops software we use, because we take pieces of software. Unlike Google, we try to avoid developing our own pieces of software if it's not required. You know, for example, we have to develop our own, I don't know, dialer application for the mobile phone, right? This isn't something we can get from freedesktop.org. But if we use GCC, if we use libc or something, and we need to modify it, we work with the community and we make our changes available on the mailing lists, in the upstream repositories. We I think much more than Android work with the community. If I don't get it right, well, maybe that's because I work with Tizen, not with Android, and don't know the details of Android development. Is that the answer you were?
Well, to be very honest, I was hoping for a bit more than the open software definition, because you were referring to the platform as a whole, and also to the movement of the platform.
Well, maybe one thing more. We want platform developers who want to run Tizen. We want them to work with us on Tizen.org to develop the platform. This is the other aspect. We want to be some kind of community that, like communities in kernel, in WebKit, accept patches for their software. We want to accept patches from others to our packages. This is the other part of the openness I was referring to. Some parts are developed in-house and they go straight to products. That's, I think, obvious, because some things are, I don't know, there are patents, there is stuff. I try to avoid these pieces of software and work with open parts. I'm happy that I've got this opportunity. But there is a lot of software on Tizen.org. There is the Gerrit system with a lot of projects. I get in my Firefox browser, I get at least every time I load the list of projects, I get this dialog that the script is running too slow, and do I want to continue? So there is a lot of packages. Some of them will disappear because the number is high because of merge from several Gerrits, and we're somehow cleaning this up. But we're trying to put there as much as we can, so we can get help from others to make our software better. As I told, as you have seen, there was a question mark next to the Tizen store. This isn't yet defined, or at least I, as a platform developer in Samsung, I am not fully aware of how is this going to be. I know there is an app store. I know that you can register there, and you can walk around and see it for yourself. Probably this will give you much more, and true information than I can give you now. So please go to, I think this is store.tizen.org or something like this, and you can find it. The application distribution model, as much as I know it, hasn't been yet strictly defined. This isn't yet known. There is a software development kit. As far as I can tell, M0 is quite similar to Galaxy S3. I don't know. Really, I don't know much about targets. In general, if you develop an application with an emulator, and it's an HTML5 which is advised, which is recommended, this is going to run on a device, because you've got the same web runtime on both the device and the emulator, and this abstraction layer is thick enough, so differences, I don't know, there shouldn't be any differences at the moment, at least. So you should try on there are going, I think I didn't say that, there are going to be 2 devices released this fall or early winter. By the end of the year, there are going to be 2 devices, one for Japanese Docomo and one for Orange. So probably you will be able to buy a Tizen mobile phone just in a shop around the corner. Ask Orange. Yes. Somehow, yes. I haven't mentioned it because, like Tizen, it's emerging, and I wanted to compare to more available options. Firefox OS is somehow our competition, more or less. I can't. I'm an engineer. From my point of view, it is competition. I don't know how management perceives it. So ask my manager what he knows about it. Yes. Testing framework. I don't know. I don't know. It's as I told you, I work rather on lower layers. So honestly, I can't tell. Okay, if that is all, then I think I will just thank you. And I would like to invite you to other lectures by my colleagues, which are going to be about Tizen. Thank you.